And so what we're seeing here is coping. Mike is trying to convince himself that what he's doing is healthy. Coach Greg, in today's video, Mike Israetel won't stop. And so the man is coping harder than last time. His latest post, he decides to show us his blood pressure. 116/76, and so amazing, right? This is my blood pressure today at 229 pounds body weight. Remember, Mike Israetel is a manlet. He's 5'6" tall, just like Coach Greg. And so that translates to a BMI of 37.2, which technically makes him obese. And so just because it's almost all muscle, I mean, the guy did a DEXA scan, he had about 6.2% body fat, doesn't mean that you're healthy. Health is the foundation of fitness. I agree. Health is the foundation of fitness. But if you're on steroids, especially at abusive doses, remember, that's anything above HRT that would be perhaps prescribed by your doctor, you are not healthy. You can try to convince us that you're healthy. You can present as healthy, but you're not healthy. If your blood pressure is chronically over 120/80, consider getting leaner, getting more sleep, reducing stress, and talking to your doctor about blood pressure medication options. And so Mike listed several great things you can do if your blood pressure is in fact over 120/80. If it, for example, is 130, 140/85 or 90, this is not good. And so you should try to do something to help alleviate the problems. Problem is, the only one of those things that Mike is willing to do is the last option, that being using blood pressure medication. I mean, consider this. He just finished a bodybuilding competition where he was arguably the leanest he's ever been. Now remember, he lost the competition because he didn't have a proper tan, but I would argue that he was still fairly lean, close to 6% body fat. And so following the competition, can he in fact get leaner? It's not realistic. And so he's probably going to in fact get fatter. And so getting leaner for Mike Israetel, it's not really an option. But getting lighter is. It's not just getting leaner that will lower your blood pressure, it's also losing weight, even if that weight is in fact muscle. Now remember, Mike Israetel in a video said he's now going to be going off to much lower doses, that he expects he's going to get down to perhaps 190 pounds. But since the competition, he's actually gained weight. His weight isn't going down, it's actually trending up. And so is it possible that this is because Mike is not willing to lower the doses to lower than last time? Is he in fact only on HRT? Well, he doesn't tell us. He's not showing us his blood work. He's not telling us exactly what he's taking. And for a man who's open, honest, and transparent, I think this would be very beneficial for the world to see. It also says reducing stress. Mike, he works a lot. He has a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. He's making videos. And so I don't think he's going to just simply have the time to relax, kick back, and stop making videos. And as far as getting more sleep, I do believe he says he doesn't have problems with sleep. Remember, he says that if you go really strict on your diet, that if you're abusing tren, that could affect your sleep. Mike says he only used very minimal doses, that he's able to get great sleep, and so that can't be a benefit. There's no blood pressure medicine with side effects worse than the main effects of chronic high blood pressure, not even by a mile. I have to agree. And so if you do in fact have chronic high blood pressure, it's better to get medication to help relieve the problems. But notice how Mike is bragging about how healthy his blood pressure is. Do you really think this is because he simply has great genetics? That's because he does 12,000 steps a day, that he's training and doing cardio during jiu-jitsu? No, it's literally because he's taking not just one, but 2 blood pressure medications, amlodipine and telmisartan, 10 milligrams and 80 milligrams daily, respectively. It's tough to be 40 years old, on gear, weighing 230 pounds and not need meds. And so let me highlight the fact on gear. Not just HRT, not 140 milligrams like Coach Greg, but on gear, higher doses. But for what? Did he not say he was going to take a break? Was he not trying to lose weight and downsize to become a healthy 190 pounds? Or perhaps he just can't stop. I was watching a podcast, Dan Bilzerian was talking about his first cycle, and once he started, he found it very hard to stop. once you get a taste of the gains, putting on all that muscle, it's hard to just go cold turkey and stop doing what you're doing. What if your blood pressure is high because you're constantly flexing? Then you will die a god being in caps, but like soon. And so Mike realizes this, but he chooses to do so. He chooses to abuse gear, knowing it's taking years off of his life. Now, here's the thing. We don't see his blood work, but what we do see is his blood pressure, which is being controlled by medication, but we also see his resting heart rate. His resting heart rate is 81. Now, was Mike, in fact, going for a walk while taking this test? Because last I checked, a resting heart rate of 81 is horrendous. This is not healthy. If your resting heart rate is above 70, I'm going to argue that you're probably not healthy. And so what is the real cure? What is the solution to his problems? It's going off steroids. As much as we want to tell ourselves, to convince ourselves that all we need to do is minimize our blood pressure and our problems are solved, it's not true. Just because the research, the literature shows that lower blood pressure results in fewer problems, doesn't mean that by taking blood pressure medications that all those problems are gone. And so, for example, there's a big difference between somebody who's 230 pounds that's taking blood pressure medications to regulate their blood pressure and somebody who's 190 pounds and takes no blood pressure medications but has the same resting blood pressure. And I'm also convinced that if Mike Israetel were to drop 40 pounds, his resting heart rate would be lower than last time. And so what we're seeing here is coping. Mike is trying to convince himself that what he's doing is healthy. But what I want to see, and I'm sure the world wants to see, is what does Mike Israetel's blood work actually look like? Is he as healthy as he makes himself out to be? And so, Mike, if you're trying to be a transparent and really trying to help the world as much as humanly possible, why not show us your blood work? Let us examine it. And so Mike Israetel posted in his stories, Dylan Guyan. It states, my health improved while on a cycle. And so is Mike trying to say that, hey guys, you can abuse steroids and still be healthier than last time? Now, this isn't a result of the cycle itself, rather my diligent efforts to continue to improve my health. If you spend half your year on cycle, you need to optimize health while you're on as well as off. One thing I don't think gets talked about enough is the effects of androgens on mental health. Everybody knows steroids are bad for the physical, heart, and so on, but not many people speak about the mental effects. I do believe that regularly going to a therapist every week has had a very large impact on managing the side effects of high doses and should be heavily considered by PD users. And so please reflect on that. What they're suggesting is it's not only get your blood work done, but also if you're on steroids, go and see a therapist. Strongly recommended to deal with the mental effects from using these androgens. And so here is what he considers to be healthier while doing a cycle. And so notice current testosterone levels are at 1200 and obviously super physiological. But notice where it says previous results, 2600. He improved his health while on cycle. But notice how his testosterone levels are 1200 in comparison to 2600. And so essentially what that means is he's on half of the cycle. And so yeah, he improved his health while on cycle. Yeah, you cut your cycle in half. Let's say you're doing 500 milligrams of test and 500 milligrams of tren, and you improve your health while on cycle. You lower the dose from 500 to 250, and you say, hey, I just got healthier while on cycle. And so can you see it's easy to show what you want? If he in fact were natural and had poor blood work and went on cycle, we would have seen his testosterone perhaps in the normal range, let's call it 600, and then while on cycle it would have went to 1200. But we didn't see that. His blood work got better, but his testosterone went from 2600 to 1200. That obviously means lower doses. And so with lower doses comes fewer side effects. But was he in fact side effect free? Well, let's see. The first thing I see is RBC, hemoglobin, and hematocrit are all high. They're flagged. And so although he can claim he got healthier, it's still not good. Next, we see BUN at 22 high, creatinine 1.31 high, AST and ALT both high, and notice it's higher than last time. And so in the previous results, he was actually healthier. And so some markers got better and some markers got worse. And so the cholesterol total, we can see that it's very low. However, HDL cholesterol, it's only at 23 on the current cycle, but what you want is your HDL to be higher. And so this is not healthy blood work. Last but not least, we see his insulin is at 1.2. This is very low. Did he really get healthier? Is this the kind of post that you want to make? Hey everybody, you can still abuse steroids and still be healthy. See my blood work. The blood work doesn't show that you're healthy at all. And so when Mike Israetel is bragging, saying, look at my blood work, it's below 120 over 80, and I'm 229 pounds on gear and I'm 40, that's telling the world, you too can abuse steroids, so long as you take blood pressure medications. But he's not showing us his blood work. He's not showing how good or bad that it may be. And he's telling everyone, I'm fit despite what I'm doing. I believe that this is a negative message. You can hate me for talking about it. You could say Coach Greg is just a hater. He's jealous. But what I'm trying to do is convince the world that abusing steroids, no matter what you do, no matter how healthy you think you are, it's still not healthy. And yeah, I get it. He's a grown man. He can do what he wants. And I'm also a grown man and I am going to do whatever I want. And that's to talk about Mike Israetel and his blood pressure. Now, if you are trying to be healthier than last time, the number one supplement I'm going to suggest, GO2 Max. It's going to improve your cardio. You'll have more energy. You can work out harder and for longer and feel better. And so by burning off more calories, it's going to help you to lose weight. And that can ultimately help your blood pressure and perhaps increase the quality and quantity of your life. Interested in GO2 Max? Click the link in the description, code Greg for 15% off. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like the video if you liked it. Watch one of those two bloops. Don't forget about the cookbooks, the Circle diet book, training books, coaching plans by me and my team, as well as the free diet and training program. Get over to the website, join the 300,000 plus newsletter subscribers. And until next time, I am out.